Imagine a land where ancient mysteries intertwine with modern marvels, a country with a rich tapestry woven from the threads of Viking conquests, medieval intrigue, and innovative design. Welcome to Denmark, a place where the past is not just remembered, but celebrated, a cornerstone of its national identity. Today, we embark on a journey through time, exploring the fascinating history of this Nordic nation. Our story begins in the swirling mists of prehistory, long before Denmark became a unified kingdom. As the last ice age retreated around 12,000 BC, early hunter-gatherers roamed these lands, leaving behind flint tools and burial sites as silent witnesses to their existence. These ancient peoples were the forerunners of a complex society that would later emerge as one of Europe's most influential powers. Fast forward to the end of the 8th century, when the ferocious roar of the Vikings shattered the tranquility of northern Europe. Denmark was one of the cradles of the Viking Age, a period marked by seafaring prowess and expansive raiding. Danish Vikings, with their longships cutting through cold northern seas, were not mere marauders, but traders and settlers, establishing routes and colonies as far afield as the British Isles, Normandy, and even the distant shores of North America. The Viking legacy is etched into the Danish landscape, with runestones scattered across the countryside, offering cryptic inscriptions of familial ties and triumphs. Among these, the Jelling stones stand as monumental testaments to the reign of King Harald Bluetooth, who united Denmark and Norway and converted the Danes to Christianity in the 10th century. The stones, inscribed with the oldest known record of the name Denmark, are often referred to as Denmark's birth certificate. As the Viking Age waned, the medieval era beckoned, a time of castles, cathedrals, and the rise of a centralized monarchy. The Kalmar Union, forged in 1397, under Queen Margaret I, sought to unite Denmark, Norway, and Sweden under a single crown. This ambitious political endeavor, aimed at strengthening the Scandinavian kingdoms against German and Baltic threats, was a remarkable attempt at unity, albeit fraught with internal strife and eventual dissolution. The Middle Ages also bore witness to the architectural and cultural blossoming of Denmark. Magnificent structures like Roskilde Cathedral and Kronborg Castle, the inspiration for Shakespeare's Elsinore and Hamlet, rose majestically, embodying the power and prestige of the Danish crown. These edifices, with their intricate Gothic designs and strategic locations, served both as royal residences and symbols of ecclesiastical authority. Yet, Denmark's history is not merely a tale of kings and conquests. It is also a story of the common folk, whose lives were shaped by the rhythms of the land and sea. The Hanseatic League, a powerful confederation of merchant guilds and market towns, held sway over trade in the Baltic and North Sea regions. Danish towns like Copenhagen, Ribe, and Aalborg thrived as bustling centers of commerce. Their fortunes were tied to the ebb and flow of goods like fish, grain, and timber. Amidst this economic tapestry, Denmark's cultural fabric was enriched by sagas and folklore. An oral tradition preserved the myths and legends of the Norse gods. These stories, handed down through generations, were a source of entertainment. They were also a means of imparting moral lessons and cultural values. As the world edged closer to the dawn of the Renaissance, Denmark stood at a crossroads. The Reformation, ignited by Martin Luther's theses in 1517, would soon sweep across Europe. Denmark, too, would be touched by this tide of transformation. This set the stage for a dramatic shift in its spiritual and political landscape. But what would become of this small yet formidable nation as it navigated the turbulent waters of the Reformation? How would its people reconcile centuries of tradition with the demands of a rapidly changing world? Join us as we delve deeper into the annals of history. We uncover the pivotal moments that shaped Denmark into the vibrant, progressive society it is today. As the Reformation swept through Europe, Denmark found itself at the heart of seismic changes. This period, beginning in the early 16th century, saw the nation caught between the old religious order and the burgeoning Protestant movement. King Christian III, a fervent supporter of Martin Luther's teachings, played a crucial role in this transformation. In 1536, he declared Lutheranism the official state religion. This effectively dissolved the Catholic Church's influence and redistributed its wealth and lands to the crown and nobility. This shift not only altered Denmark's religious landscape, but also reinforced the power of the monarchy. With the clergy's political influence diminished, the king's authority became more centralized, setting the stage for an era of absolute monarchy. The Protestant Reformation also spurred educational reforms, as the need for a literate population to read the Bible in their vernacular became imperative. This led to the establishment of schools and universities that would foster Denmark's intellectual growth for centuries to come. During this transformative era, Denmark was not isolated from the broader European conflicts. The 30 Years' War, which raged from 1618 to 1648, saw Denmark embroiled in a series of military campaigns that drained its resources and tested its resilience. The war's conclusion, marked by the Treaty of Westphalia, reshaped the European political map, but left Denmark weakened and vulnerable to future threats. Despite these challenges, the Danish spirit of exploration and innovation remained undeterred. The 17th century ushered in a golden age of science and culture, exemplified by the work of the astronomer Tycho Brahe. Born into Danish nobility, Brahe's meticulous observations of the stars and planets laid the groundwork for modern astronomy. His observatory on the island of Heaven became a hub of scientific inquiry, attracting scholars from across Europe, eager to unlock the mysteries of the cosmos. Meanwhile, Denmark's artistic and cultural landscape flourished under the reign of King Frederik III and his successors. The Baroque grandeur of Copenhagen's architecture, epitomized by the opulent Rosenborg Castle, reflected the wealth and ambition of the Danish monarchy. This period also saw the emergence of a vibrant literary scene, with poets and playwrights drawing inspiration from both classical traditions and the tumultuous events of their time. As the 18th century dawned, Denmark faced new challenges and opportunities. The Great Northern War, spanning from 1700 to 1721, pitted the nation against Sweden in a struggle for dominance over the Baltic region. Although Denmark emerged with its territories largely intact, the conflict underscored the shifting balances of power in Northern Europe. In the midst of these geopolitical upheavals, Denmark embarked on a series of internal reforms aimed at modernizing its agricultural and economic systems. The 18th century saw the introduction of the Great Agricultural Reforms, which transformed the rural landscape and improved productivity. This period of enlightenment was characterized by a growing emphasis on reason, science, and the betterment of society. These principles would guide Denmark's development in the years to come. Culturally, the Age of Enlightenment brought about a flowering of arts and ideas. The Royal Danish Academy of Fine Arts was established in 1754. It nurtured a generation of painters, sculptors, and architects. These artists would leave a lasting mark on Danish culture. This era also witnessed the rise of notable figures such as Søren Kierkegaard. His existential musings would influence thinkers and writers far beyond Denmark's borders. Yet, even as Denmark embraced progress, it could not escape the tumult of the Napoleonic Wars. The early 19th century saw the nation embroiled in conflict once again. This culminated in the devastating British bombardment of Copenhagen in 1807. This attack was part of the broader struggle against Napoleon's France. It resulted in the loss of Denmark's powerful navy and significant territorial concessions. Despite these setbacks, the Danish spirit proved resilient. The ensuing years saw a resurgence of national identity and cultural pride. This was driven by the Romantic movement. Figures like Hans Christian Andersen exemplified this cultural renaissance. His fairy tales captured the imagination of readers around the world. Andersen's stories, filled with whimsy and moral depth, remain an enduring symbol of Denmark's rich literary heritage. As we pause in our exploration of Denmark's storied past, the stage is set for further transformation. The nation stands on the brink of modernity. It is poised to navigate the challenges and opportunities of a rapidly changing world. What lies ahead for Denmark as it continues its journey through history? The answers await as we delve deeper into the next chapters of this captivating saga. As the 19th century unfolded, Denmark found itself grappling with the complexities of industrialization. The nation was transitioning from a primarily agrarian society to one increasingly driven by manufacturing and trade. This shift was marked by the construction of railways, which connected cities and towns. Copenhagen became a bustling hub of innovation and commerce. Its skyline was punctuated by smokestacks and grand architectural projects. Politically, Denmark underwent significant transformations. The revolutions of 1848 brought demands for democracy and civil rights. These demands found resonance in Denmark as well. The year 1849 marked the establishment of a constitutional monarchy. This replaced the absolute rule that had characterized Danish governance for centuries. The new constitution granted citizens civil liberties and established a parliamentary system, paving the way for a more inclusive and representative government. However, the mid-19th century also brought territorial challenges. The complex Schleswig-Holstein question, involving the duchies of Schleswig and Holstein, posed a significant diplomatic and military dilemma. These territories, with their mixed Danish and German populations, were claimed by both Denmark and the German Confederation. The conflict culminated in the Second Schleswig War of 1864, where Denmark, despite a valiant effort, was defeated by Prussian and Austrian forces. The loss of Schleswig and Holstein was a national trauma, shaping Danish foreign policy and identity for generations. Despite these setbacks, the latter half of the 19th century was a period of cultural and intellectual flourishing. Denmark embraced the ideals of the Scandinavian cultural movement known as the Modern Breakthrough, which emphasized realism and naturalism in the arts. Figures such as Georg Brandes, a literary critic, championed these ideas, advocating for literature and art that reflected the realities of contemporary life. This era also saw the rise of influential playwrights like Henrik Ibsen, whose works explored themes of individualism and social critique. As the 20th century dawned, Denmark continued to evolve, navigating the complexities of world events while striving to maintain its identity and sovereignty. The outbreak of World War I presented a delicate balancing act, with Denmark adopting a policy of neutrality. This position allowed the nation to avoid the devastation experienced by many of its European neighbors, preserving its economy and infrastructure. The interwar years saw Denmark grappling with the challenges of the Great Depression and the rise of totalitarian regimes across Europe. Social reforms, including the establishment of a comprehensive welfare state, were implemented to address economic disparities and improve living standards. These reforms laid the foundation for Denmark's modern social model, characterized by a strong emphasis on equality and public welfare. World War II tested Denmark's resolve once again. In 1940, Nazi Germany occupied the country, imposing harsh restrictions and testing the limits of Danish sovereignty. However, the Danish government managed to negotiate a degree of autonomy, and the population engaged in acts of resistance and sabotage against the occupiers. One of the most remarkable episodes of the war was the successful rescue of nearly all Danish Jews who were smuggled to safety in Sweden. This was thanks to a coordinated effort by the Danish resistance and ordinary citizens. In the post-war era, Denmark emerged as a stable and prosperous nation. It joined the United Nations in 1945 and became a founding member of NATO in 1949. Denmark aligned itself with Western powers in the emerging Cold War order. The latter half of the 20th century was marked by economic growth. Industries such as shipping, pharmaceuticals, and renewable energy drove this growth. Denmark's commitment to environmental sustainability and innovation became a hallmark of its national identity. Culturally, Denmark continued to make significant contributions on the global stage. The Danish film industry gained international acclaim. Directors like Lars von Trier and Susanne Bier garnered awards and recognition. Danish design became a global benchmark, influencing architecture, furniture, and fashion. As the 21st century unfolds, Denmark stands as a beacon of progress and stability. It is a nation that honors its rich history while embracing innovation and inclusivity. From its Viking roots to its modern achievements, Denmark's journey is a testament to resilience and creativity. The story of Denmark continues to inspire.